All right, started. Let's see. So yeah, guys. Till yesterday we have discussed about all the objects type that we have in Appian, like whichever will be required to design an application for ourselves, right? So we discussed on that. Do you guys have any question on any of the object type? Any other doubts if you have in your mind? Anyone? Am I audible? You guys can hear me well?
Yeah, we are audible.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I mean, do you guys have any questions? All right, I think no. All right, so we also decided on a use case that we are going to create a use case for customer onboarding process where we will be onboarding our customers and then creating an account for them, like which kind of account they wanted, and also we'll see that how do we design the data model and then all those things. So I asked you guys to discuss about among yourself. I mean, within thought about within yourself and then come up with some ideas about the data model. So what could the data model we will be using? Anything that you guys have come up with? Anyone would like to share? When you say data model, what is the data model and what we need to use there? Okay, first of all, the question: what is a data model?
Because types of the entries, so
So any application, right? Whenever we start, let's say it's not about the Appian. Whenever we start planning for an application development, doesn't matter it's Appian or Java or C or some other tools, right? If we have our data model ready with us, it means that we will be able to um, design our application in a better way, right? So for any application, if we are planning for new application design, we should have a data model with us, right? So let's say if you want to go with the data model, so you guys tell me what you think. I mean, what could the first data table that we need to create in the system? Speak up, guys. If you want to create an application, we should be having some data table, right? So what do you think?
yeah,
So what is your purpose?
uh, like uh, suppose
So what is the question?
name.
So I'm
What
asking, like, if we ask you, like, the customer onboarding process, this is the application we are going to discuss, right? Customer onboarding process.
okay.
So what is the data model? What table it would be come in your mind that we should be having that?
So first will be the customer details
Customer
table.
details. Okay, let's say we'll see customer details. All right. Mhm. And
And
Account table.
account table,
account table.
account details.
Okay, account details. Okay,
Mm, amount,
Bank information.
that will
Bank
come.
details.
That will come.
Personal details.
Okay, personal details will be the part of the customer because here we are getting their name and all, right? Okay, let's say we have a customer details. So what do you think? What could be the attributes? What are the
customer
columns
ID,
you think? Customer ID. Okay,
It's customer ID, customer first name,
okay. We can say first name. Okay,
last name,
okay.
customer contact details,
Last name and contact details. Let's say if you want to have some address, right? Address, customer address,
address.
right?
Yeah.
Address. Fine. So customer ID, first name, last name. What else?
Phone number.
Okay, phone number.
Email ID.
Email ID.
Their KYC details, Aadhaar and PAN card number.
Okay, so let's say we can have Aadhaar number, we can have a number. Okay, what else? Anything else is come up in your mind? We have customer ID, first name, last name, mobile, email, Aadhaar, PAN. Okay, if something comes in our mind, we
Date
can
of birth.
date of birth. That is good. DOB. We can have like is customer is active or it has been deactivated. In future, maybe customer can say that I don't want an account to continue, right? So we should not be deleting customer details at all, right? We should be soft deleting it. So we say is active, true or false. That customer is available or not with us. All right. So if a user comes to the if a customer visit the banks, we say that I want to open an account. So we will ask them, okay, can you please give me your first name, last name, mobile number, email address, Aadhaar number, PAN, DOB, and then this is what we will set. And we can have few more details like like suppose there could be many representative into the bank, isn't it? So who has onboarded you? So we can say created by, right? And we could also have created on, like customer onboarded has been created on which date, isn't it? And in future there might be some updates could be done, right? So that could be done by anyone, any other employee. So we can say updated by, and we can also say updated on, right? These are the few columns which we can have like predefined, which can define when the update has been done, when your process has been, the customer has been onboarded, right? Such kind of details. Anything else that comes to your mind? So these are the fields that we will.
Gender,
That is good. Yeah.
gender,
Gender. So let's have that gender somewhere here. So I'll just take it. Oh, control X. Sorry. Gender. Yeah. Okay. Now this is going to be my customer details table, right? And this is my. It will be a type of integer, and then it will also be the primary key, right? The customer ID, whatever we will be generating, that will be kind of a primary key, right? And these all can be varchar. When we see the varchar, it's kind of text, right? This is also going to be varchar, varchar. This is also varchar. Phone number we can have integer, but that will go beyond the limit. But nowadays user wants with the state code, right? +9. Once we can have varchar. This we can have a date. This we can have a varchar, right? This we can have boolean, and then this is again going to be varchar. This is going to be date. This is going to be varchar, and then this is going to be date, right? So this is the our table information that we have decided, and we will whenever a customer comes to the bank, we'll say, okay, can you please help me with your these details. So once we have all these details, then we can provide all this number. This will be auto increment, this will be auto generated number, right? Customer ID, that's why I'm saying it's a primary key, and other information we will ask from the user. Okay, now every customer may have also the account, their address, isn't it? So we can have a customer address table as well. Okay, so now in the customer address table, what do you think, what could be the
Door number.
sorry?
The address
Door
address
number.
one, like,
So first of all, we will have address ID. That will be the primary key of this address,
yes.
right? Which could be an integer, and then it could be a primary key. Then how do we know that this particular address belongs to which customer? So we can have a customer ID, right? Now this is also going to be integer, and then this will be a foreign key. Do you guys understand? Anyone is there who doesn't understand the concept of foreign key? I can explain. Anyone who doesn't know what is a foreign key?
No, actually, don't have any idea.
Okay. See, this customer table, we will have this address ID, right? So it will have the primary key of this customer details. Now, this address
Okay.
belongs to which customer? So whatever ID we will be generating here, we will be assigning to this particular value here. So we can know that, okay, but for this particular customer, this is the address. So based on this column, we can understand this customer has what address, right? So here it is this, if one primary key is mapping with some other table, then it will belong as a refer as a foreign key. It means that let's say, for example, if I have a data like this in the table, let's say I have one customer ID 1, okay, and then I have first name as say Ravi, and then last name, let's say Kumar, and then we have some other details like phone number. Okay, because we have given the plus, that's it's taking the issue. Okay, and then we have some details, further details. Okay, and then we have a customer table. In the customer table, we have, let's say, customer ID, let's say starting from the 8, and then we will have 1, and then we will have, let's say, whatever details we are going to put here. So we will have this details. Okay, so in that way, there are many other tables. Let's say there's other 9, and then here we have 2, and then so a few more details. So if I want to know for the customer ID for myself, what is the address in the table is available. So based on this one, we can understand that this is the this is the address of this particular customer. Okay, so that is what the foreign key is here. All right, is that clear?
Yeah, okay, clear.
So what other details we can have? We can have, let's say, city.
Yeah, city,
So
pin code,
yeah, we
a
can
pin
have
code,
okay, pin code, street,
Street,
uh,
district,
country, yeah, we can have district, pin code,
state,
state.
door number,
Yeah, we can have those details. Let's put that top. So you can say, maybe we can have, let's say, instead of giving door number, we can have, like,
house number,
address, which will have like host number, your flat number, and or your apartment name and all, right? So which will come under the address. Then we can have street here, and then city, and then city. After that, we can have state, and then city,
district,
state, district, pin, and then we can have country, and then what else? I think that's all. We can have is active, like is this address is active or not, right? And yeah, that's all. So we can have this varchar, and boolean. All right, so this is done. Customer address is done, customer is done, and their address is done. We will come to the account details when will reach to this level, but now for this is fine. Anyone has any question here? So this is the data model that we have decided, and which we will be creating for our purpose into the system.
I have one doubt.
Mm-hmm.
In the table, first table, customer details,
Mm-hmm.
we have created by, created on, updated by, updated on.
Mm-hmm.
So is it compulsory to do for every 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 table.
It's kind of a
What
good
exactly it
idea
is?
to do that, because it will be, it's not compulsory, but if you want to know at what date this customer has onboarded, right? And so how do you know that when it was happened? If you say, like, a customer is there already and you wanted to modify some mobile number, so what date it has been modified, so when it was last updated, so we could know by having this column only, right?
Okay. And these four options will be for only one table. That is first table only.
No, if you wanted to put for the address as well, you can do that. That's one thing. It's not a compulsory. It's for your benefit. If
Okay.
you want to capture, then you can have it. Otherwise, that's fine, right?
Okay.
All right. So this is a data model that we wanted to create, and then this is a table that we will have in our system. Okay, good. So let's see how do we create a table in our database. Let me share my screen back. So right now we have not created any of the application for our purpose. So we'll do that. Before that, let's go and create our tables. Okay, okay, fine. In the table also we will require one thing. So let's first create an application. So how do we create an application first of all, right? So this is the Appian Designer. We talk about this shoot. How, guys, how do we come to this shoot? We log in and then we come direct to here, or we, if you don't have saved this URL, then we can come from this path. Let me show you. If your basic, if you are logging as a user and then you are getting to this page, this tempo shoot, to go to the designer, you can simply click on this grid icon and go to the Appian Designer. So once you do that, you will be able to come to this point. All right, now here we want to create a new application for our purpose. So we click on the new application and then we give the name. We give the name as Customer Onboarding Process. Okay, you see, there's a one more column called prefix, and it is getting some text uh, populated by itself. So from where these texts are coming, these are coming from the first letter of your application name. So we have customer onboarding process. So COP is a kind of prefix. Why do we need this prefix? You know, let's say, in our rule, in our application, we are creating an expression role. The purpose of this expression role is to fetch the data from the table. Okay, let's say customer details. So we will give the name of that rule is like a get customer details. Similarly, some other application could also be using the same kind of concept, and they will also give the name as a get customer details. So which will be a conflict, right? So to to, I mean, so user can proceed with the same name, we need to add a prefix to it. Let's say there is some other example, some other application is they are creating, right? Let's say leave management system. So their prefix could be LMS, right? So the rule name for them will be LMS underscore get customer details. For us, it will be COP underscore get customer details. So in that case, the name will become as a different, and user can understand which rule is used for which application. Let's say I want to update the get customer details. If I search for the get customer details, I may get like 10 of the rules with the same name. But how do I know which is for my application? So by using the prefix, we can understand that this is my uh, rule, right? So that's why we put a prefix. Is that clear? What's the use of prefix? Okay.
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Now we say the description. So this application, it is not mandatory, but it is always too good to have it. Is used. This application will be onboarding a customer to bank. Okay. Now we have something called generate groups and folders to secure and organize the objects. If you don't do this checkbox, what will happen is that there are certain few objects that Appian creates for you by itself. You don't have to create it. But if you don't check this, those objects will not be get created. You have to create it manually. Let me give you one example how it look like if I create without the checkbox. Let's say I'm going to create another application called test application. Okay, I'll just give the name as by 16. Okay, and here I'll put some test app. I don't want to check this checkbox. If I don't check this checkbox and click on the create, it will ask for a security. Right now we do not have any security. We have to not have created any of the group, so it will be blank. You see the default all other users has no access. It will be blank. I'll just say save. Once we do that, an application will be created for myself. If we go back here, from here you can go back. If you click here, you see that test batch 16 has been created. Now if I go here, I will be able to see, go to the build, it's blank, nothing is here, right? We need to create some group for the security purpose. We need to create some folders for our objects where we can put our objects. So all those things we need to create manually. However, if you go with this option, generate and groups and folders to secure and organize objects, let this checkbox checked, and then if you click on the create, you see that it has created two groups for you: COP administrator and COP users. Administrator, they have given the admin access, and COP users, they have given the viewer access. So two groups it has created. I'll explain the use of that group. What is the administrator and the viewer? I'll tell you about that. Click on the save. Now if I go to the build here, you will see that there are 7 objects that Appian has created for yourself. You do not have to create it by for you. So what are the objects they have created? They have created two groups. One group is called administrator, one group is called user. So administrator, they have given as a for this as admin role. Like administrator can do what administrator can do. Administrator can do anything in your with your application. If you are going to put any user to this group, they can create an object, they can delete an object, they can modify whatever they wanted to do, they can do that for this application. However, if you are going to put a user inside the COP users, which is as a viewer role, so viewer role can only view the things. They can start a process, they can run a process, they can initiate a process, they can you know save the form and all those things, but they cannot open this application and see what are the objects are there. They cannot delete it, they cannot modify those objects, right? So that is the changes between this administrator and the user. Right, is that clear? So whatever objects we will be creating, and we will be assigning the security according to that. Okay, is that clear, guys? Any question here? Okay,
So these sevens where we so while designing the style, we use these folders.
yeah, we will be using these folders, right now. You see the third object is called process model folder. In our application, if we are
Okay.
going to create any process model, we will be saving those process model under this folder. Okay,
Okay. After creating we have to save here.
yes, we need to, whatever objects we will be creating, we need to save it somewhere, right? So we will be saving it under the process model folder, that the process models. Now third, you can see the
Okay.
third one is a document folder, fourth one is also a document folder, right? So this document folder will capture any documents. If you are going to upload any documents, or if you are going to save any documents to the folder, right, we will be using these folders. Okay, and the sixth one is called knowledge center. Knowledge center is basically the parent of your all the folders. If you click in on this one, you will see that inside that you will have these document folders. However, this parent process model folders and the rule folders are not the part of the knowledge center. They are separately stored into the system. But any document folder that we create, that get inside the knowledge center. We can also create one more. I mean, it's not like we are limited to here. We can also create one more process model folder. That's fine. If you click on the folder, you can create the process model folder by yourself. Okay, it's not restricted that only one can be used. You can create n number of process model folders. You can create n number of knowledge center rule folder, right? So it depends how you want to organize the data. It's not restricting you to have only one or two folders. You can have n number of folders according to your use. The last one is the rule folder, where if you are going to create any expression rules constants or interface, we can keep it inside. Okay, any question here, guys? What are the 7 objects that we have created? And you see all the starting with the COP. What is the COP? COP is nothing but a prefix of our application. So whatever object we will be creating, that will have COP in the beginning. So we can understand that, okay, this is the this belongs to which application. Is that clear? Any question? Wherein, if you go to the test application that we built, nothing is there. If you want to create any folder here, let's say I want to create a folder. So I'll just click on the new. I'll go to the folder. Let's say I want to create a process model folder. So I'll say process model folder, and then I'll give the name as process model folder. Okay, I'll say create. If I do like that, it says that we want to have security, but you have not created any security group. So we can create a groups, and then we can have that. Let's say we want to create a group, so we'll go to the new and we'll say group. I want to have a TA let's say system administrator. Okay, I'll say create. So I created one group called system administrator. Okay, and then I want to create another group called all users. Okay, this is the name of the group I have given. Now if I want to go to the security, just select any object. Like for process model, I want to secure it, right? So I want to select this particular object and then go to the security. I will say that add users or group here. We will add TA system administrator. Okay, TA system administrator. I want to give them as an administrator role. I will say TA all users. I will give them as a viewer role. I can save the changes. If you do like that, now if you go to the security again, you will see that system administrator has the admin access and all user has the viewer access. Same way, for this application package also we can put a security. Let's say I want to put a security here. So select this application package and go to the security, and then we say add user or group. So here we can say TA system administrator will have the administrator role, and TA all users will have the viewer role. So we have what we have done, we have just secured our application. So this user will have the access of this application, who will be the part of system administrator, TA system administrator and TA all users group. Apart from that, a basic use, but this is for the basic users. However, as a system admin user throughout the application as a user type, they can access everything. Like I'm system administrator, so I'm able to access all this application, right? But as a basic user, whoever the part of this particular group, we can access this application. Okay, this is how we are securing our applications. Is that clear, guys? Any question? If there are any doubts, please do ask.
Now, just we have created the folders only, right?
Sorry.
Like, like we have created the folder structure, like customer onboarding process only. We have created the folder structure up to
Yeah,
now.
so we can create, like right now we have created this process model folder. We can also create other folders, like I'd say TA, it's going to be a rule folder. I want to say interface folder. Okay, we can say create.
Okay.
We can have separate, and we can add the users and group here. We can say TA system.
So now you showed two types, right? One is automatically it's generated, or we have to create manual.
Yes.
So which one we have to use? Which one we have to use?
See, definitely, right? Why we will go with the manual case here, right? We can go with the automatically. I'm just trying to tell you that we can also create it manually if you are not going to create it. Sometimes what happens, in this process, when what the Appian automatically generates, it generates only one rule folder, like interface, constant, expression rules, everything will come to this folder. Okay. Some company wants, like, can you please create a separate folder for interface, separate rule folder for your expression rule? So I just created one for interface. I'll say TA expression. Okay, so what happens is that I am just trying to create separate folders for interface, separate folder for expression rule. If I create any interface, I'll save it here. If I create any expression rule, I'll save it here. So that is how some company wants to have different structure. So you can also create it manually according to your right. Okay, that was the purposes. All right. So now we have having all the objects created, all the groups created here, and the folders are there automatically created by the Appian. So we don't have to worry about it. That's fine. Now we decided that the data tables will go back to the table. So we go to the cloud database. Now we have a new option here. So we click on the new and then the table name. So what do you think? What should be the table name?
Customer details.
And how do we start with the table name? Do we need anything else for customer
Is
details?
it
COP,
for the application?
CCA,
COP.
COP, right? So that's how we can, because
COP.
customer details can there more tables could be there in the same name, right? So to distinguish with this our application, we can put the prefix of our application, that is COP underscore customer details. All right. So it is giving you 4 columns. How many columns we wanted? We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have already 4 here. So we'll add 10 more. Let's go. Well, the first one will be the customer ID. Okay, we'll say customer ID. It is going to be integer type, and it is also going to be auto increment, right? And index, it will be a primary key, right? Why? Because this is the primary key of our table, so it will be auto increment and primary key. So you do not have to write any code. You just select the checkbox and then it will be done. And then we will have first name. We will have last name. We will have DOB. We will have email. We'll have phone number.
Gender.
We have gender. We have what is that?
Is active.
Aadhaar and PAN. Okay.
Hmm.
Aadhaar number. We have PAN number.
created by,
Yeah.
created by,
Created by.
created by,
Is active.
Yeah. Created by. We have created on.
Hmm.
Modified by. Modified on and
Updated.
exactly. Yeah, that's updated or modified, the same thing. It's just a word is different. So updated by or updated on, or just say modified by and modified on. We also need to change the type. So first one is going to be type of varchar. If we are defining a varchar, we should be defining the length of it. Let's say first time I would say it can be 50 characters long. Last time is again varchar, it could be 50 characters long. DOB is going to be date. We do not have to define the length here. Email could be the varchar, let's say 100 characters long. Phone number can be varchar, let's say 15 characters long. Gender, it again going to be varchar. I'll just say 2 characters long. Let's say male or female. Let's say let's 10. Aadhaar number is a varchar. What is the count of Aadhaar number? I think 12 digit, right?
12 digit.
12 digits,
12 digit. PAN number. What is that PAN number? 10? Yeah. 10.
11,
I think 10. Okay, fine. And then created by, it's going to be varchar. Let's say I want to have, sometimes it may take the email address. So let's say 100 characters, because for my it's email address, so I don't want to mess with that. Created on will be going to be date. Modified by, it's going to be varchar. Says 100 characters long, and modified on is going to be date, and is active I will have tiny int. So tiny int in Appian, if you want to make anything as a boolean in table, it should be as a tiny int. Okay, so these are the columns we want to have for this customer details. And then if I say, if you want to keep this code for this one for the future, if you want to deploy, so if you want to deploy to the higher environment, you do not go and create the table, right? we should be having such a scripts with us so that we can go and deploy that script and it will be ready. We should not be creating, because if you are going to create it manually, there could be some issue, there could be chances of error, right? So what we can do, we can say preview SQL. Once we do the preview SQL, it will generate an SQL script for you. You can just copy this and you can keep it for your future purpose, okay, and save it somewhere, and then you can click on the save. Once we click on the save, a table will be ready for us. So we'll say COP, search for COP customer details is not there. We have all those columns ready. It's currently blank, so no entry here. Clear? Is there any doubt of creating the tables?
No doubt.
Okay, so likewise we have another table associated with this, and that is called customer address, right? So we will create a customer address. So we'll give the name as COP underscore customer address. So how many columns we will require for that? We have decided 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 4. We will add 6 more and say go. So we start with the address ID. Address ID, it's going to be integer. It's going to be auto increment and then primary key. So we have given as primary. Second is customer ID. It is also going to be integer because it's going to be foreign key, right? We'll see how to define this foreign key. One more thing, we have not done that one. I'll just show you here and we will update that table. Okay, third we have address. It's going to be varchar. Let's say I want to have 255 characters long, and then we have street, city, state. We'll say street. It's going to be varchar. Let's say 50 characters long. City, I can have varchar 50 characters long. State, we can have varchar, let's say 50 characters long, and then we have pin code. District can have varchar, let's say 50 characters long. Then we have pin code, it's going to be varchar, I think it's 6 characters long, let's say for 8 for now. And then we have country, it's going to be varchar, it's going to be, let's say 25 characters long. And then I think we have finally is active, it's going to be boolean, so tiny int. Okay, initially all the values can be null, right? I mean, if you want to write something, user may not provide, it's not required a street could be there or district could be there, right? So we will have all these details. So initially all the details can be null apart from this address ID. It's the primary key. 1 second. Okay, so initially all these values could be null, right? So what we do, we just check this null checkbox. It means that if somehow we are not writing any data, it should not break the system. So we will check this null checkbox, that saying that these values could be also null values, right? User may write the data without having any value for these columns. So that's why, just for the security purpose, we should be defining like this. Okay, so we just check this null box and then we say preview SQL to get this SQL scripts. Once you copy and paste it, we can click on save. So once we do that, our table will be ready for customer address and details. Let's go and modify the details as well. Go to the structure and then I'll just say I think there are option called edit. Let's select all these checkboxes here, all the columns, and then I say change. I'll just put the null checkbox. So Modifying any column is also very easy. You can simply do that. Okay, I'll just say save. So this is now done. So now all our tables are ready. Customer address and customer details are ready with having all the structure. You see, these are the nulls. Fine, right? Okay. Any question on creating these two tables?
No, good.
Okay. Now we have created this table. If you remember, we discussed like how do we connect the tables to our Appian designer environment and all, right? So we'll see all those things. But in Appian, basically we can create any application in two ways. One is the quickest way. In Appian, obviously development is very quicker. You can do very quickly development, but nowadays Appian is also enhancing itself such a way that it will be quickest way to develop any application. As I said, right, in the records, it can create a process model for you. It can create interface for you, right? But in that way, what happens is that we will not be able to understand, we will not be able to learn that how do we create an interface by ourselves, right? And it will be very, it's kind of steep level of training if I do the quickest way. But I wanted to show you that as well. So what I'll do, few things, not the major of the things I'll show you with the coding. How do we code and how do we design from the beginning, and then later stages I'll show you something by we can create it quickly. We just select the record and then create some objects here and there very quickly, right? So I'll go with the both of the options, but major things we will go with the creating from the scratch. All right, now anyone can tell me what we need in Appian now to map with this tables what we have created. What is the first thing that comes in your mind?
Connection.
Sorry, connection. Yeah, connection. Yeah, and what do you need for the connection?
Both are in same, right?
Query the data table.
Sorry, it was real quick. What was that?
Query the data table, database table.
Query. Okay. Yeah, kind of query is required, but to create a connection, the one thing that we need is called data type, right? So once we create a data type, then only we can say that okay, a query is required. All right. So we'll talk about a data type. It's very less time today. It's already at 16, but let me show you some of the options. Okay. Now there are few ways of creating data types. I'll just do one more thing. I'll just not only the actual application, we can also give you some dummy application. Let me go to the test application that we have created. Okay. Now let's say I want to create a CDT, the custom data type. So I go to the new and then select the data type. Once we select the data type, there are four ways of creating a data type. There are from the scratch. You can duplicate of the existing data type. We need to create from the database table or view, or we can import the XST. In our case, if you talk about this actual application, what do you think? What is the best option to create a data type?
From scratch.
Third one.
The third one is the best option. Why? Because it will create the database. Now from the scratch, what happens? How do we create from the scratch? Okay, let me show you. Let's create some data type from the scratch. I'll say from the scratch I want to create, and I want to give the a name as customer details. Okay, I'll say create. Once we hit create, a new window will open which will have the name of the data type. It is a data type creating window, and then I have to create a new field. So I have to start with the customer ID. It is going to be of type number integer. I need to create first name. It is going to type of varchar. That is called in Appian, it is called text. And then we have last name. We need to have text here. Again, we need to create, let's say, DOB. It is going to be type
But
of.
we are already created, right, Ravi?
But that
We
is a
are already
table.
create.
That is a table. This is a data type, CDT.
So same like column names, like field names,
So
customer
to
ID, first
capture,
name. Already we are.
if yes, so that is nothing but a table. That's a separate entity at all. It's not, that is not in Appian. That is a database, right? Imagine it's a different. It's a database where we
Okay.
keep the information. It's outside of Appian. Imagine,
Yes,
okay,
correct.
right? And
Okay.
here, if you query, let's say, if I want to query the data from this table and keep it somewhere, so which kind of variable you will need it? It should have some variable, right? Which should have the same number of columns. Then only you can keep the values. Let's say I want to bring the data and then save it some as such a variable which does not have such capacity of holding all those values, right? So in my table, if I have 5 columns, in my CT we should also have a 5 columns, so we can organize the data in a better way, right? Now imagine I want to write the data to this particular table. Okay, how many fields are there? There are 14 fields are there. So if I want to write the data to this particular table, do we need a 14 variables to write it? No, right? That's not a good idea. So what we are doing, we are collectively bringing all those variables to one place and creating a data type so that we can write all the information together to the table, and also bring all the information together back to that variable, right? So that's the reason we need to create a CDT for this one, so we can work with that. Now for example, if I want to capture, let's say I have an interface and all those 10 fields are there, first name, last name here. If I want to capture those information, I have to create n number of variables. So what will happen? It will be very difficult to handle with those to work with those variables and then continue. I'll give you one example of that one. For that, I'm just trying to put you this data type. So why do we need a data type? So to bring all information collectively at one place, we need a data type. Okay. So likewise, we have to create all this table. If we need to do it from the scratch, I am not going to put all the scale column here, but this is how we do that. Now, this is one of the option of creating the CDT, custom data type. So when I say data type, I'll just refer as a CDT. Okay. So this is the one way of creating a CDT from the scratch, where we need to put all those information, and then we define all those columns and then create it. And then there is one more issue with this one. I'll tell you what is the issue. I'll give that example. Now if I go with the third option, if I go to the actual application and then create a new data type, and I go with the third option, okay, when we select the third option, Appian says, okay, you have selected the third option, what is the data source? So data source is my JDBC Appian inbuilt database. If it is there some other database, like if you are having some other database connected with your system, then other option will also come here, like Oracle or SQL Server. If you have made a connection, that will also come here. Now, as I selected the data source, saying that particular this database bring the tables. So if you see here, it is giving all the list of table are available into the system. So what is the table name that we have? COP customer details, right? You see that COP customer details that we have created inside the database, we are able to see it here. Anyone can tell me how I'm able to see this table here? Why I'm able to see this table here?
Already we created in database.
We have created, but how come we can see? But that's outside of, I mean, that's a separate database. How system is understanding where this table is residing?
Database data source.
Because of data source. We have defined the data source here. Okay. Please bring all the table from this data source. And what table?
But we
This particular
haven't
table.
created, right? Data source.
Here we have defined, right? It's an inbuilt data source, so that's why it's coming here. If we made any other data source, like if you are using Oracle or the SQL Server and you made the connection by in the Admin console, then that will also listed here. Okay. So from
Okay,
this
okay.
database, we are bringing this table. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now if I hit continue, you see it is giving the all the details that we have, right? We do not have to create. It is also giving the name, okay, and it is bringing the all the listed column. As an Appian, as a best practice, we should also give some description. It's not mandatory, but it always to have a description. So I'll say this CDT is connected with COP underscore customer details table. Okay. Now the name of your CDT, this is going to be a name of your CDT, and the name of your table can be different. Okay, it's not restricted that you should have the same thing. You can also put ABC, whatever, right? But as an Appian best practice, you should keep your CDT name, which is connected to your table, as the same. So you can, by looking itself, you can understand that okay, this is a particular CDT. It will be, it might be connected with this particular table. So the searching will be very faster. So you can do that. So that's the reason you can put the same name here. Okay. Now another best practice that Appian suggests is that the field name of your CDT should be the camel casing. So what we need to do is that we just need to change this one, because if you are going to create a CDT from the table directly, it all will name as a lower cases, but we can change that as a camel casing. So you see this one, this is the column name. It means these are the column names from the table, and then these are the CDT parameter name. So let's say I just change this one. Okay. Now there's a checkbox called data store and all. I'll just remove it for now. I'll just want to show you how we create the data store manually. So this is the table CDT we are going to create from the third option, and you also see that this is mapping is the primary key, because this was the primary key defined into the table. Okay, now I hit on create. Once we hit on the create, okay, so now when we click on the create, you see the CDT window has been opened. Sorry about that. So you see that one, right? Once you click on the create, it created a CDT for me. If I go back to the application, you see that one data type has been created, and this is nothing but this one. So we do not have to create the column name manually. We do not have to give the type and all manually. But here, for is active, it says because we have selected the number integer, we can go and click remove that number integer and select as a boolean and hit the save changes. So this is now ready. So this CDT is ready. Any question, guys, here? I mean, how do we create a CDT for a table we have into the system by using the third option? Any question?
No questions. So, how to log in this? Actually, we didn't get the login details. So I
I
have
will share
created,
into the
but
groups, the WhatsApp group that has been created, right? I'll share with you today. Okay.
yeah, okay. So okay, today we have created up to CDT, right? See, data type.
Yes, you can go and create your application, right? Whatever the name you want to put your application, and in the description just put your name. So if multiple users are going to create the same application name, we can understand that which application is for whom. So in the description just put your name. Okay. All right. So you can understand who is working on which application. All right, guys. If there are no questions, we'll stop here. Otherwise, it will be too much for you guys now. So we have learned that today how do we create tables and how do we create a CDT as out of it by using this third option of CDT. So if I ask you one question, in how many ways we can create a CDT?
4 ways.
And what are those?
From scratch.
Okay.
From scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And second
data
XSD.
table, SSD, tables.
Okay. 3.
Fourth one. Didn't remember.
So we can duplicate up any existing.
Yes.
Right. So what is the XSD? You guys have noted that there was a fourth option XSD, but anyone knows what is an XSD?
No idea.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. No worries. We'll show you that XSD, how it forms the XSD file and what is there. We'll see that. But we have seen how do we get from the scratch. It's like we need to build one by one, right? And the other is like from the database table or view. So, and what is the best practices Appian suggests? We talk about few of the best practices. So anyone can list for creating a CDT.
It should be camel case.
The column name should be camel casing. Yeah.
Yes. So, Ravi, can you stop the record and we can discuss in 2 minutes?
I mean, if it is related to Appian, let it be go in the recording.
No, not Appian.
Okay, we'll do that. Anyone has any other questions before we wrap up? So we are talking about the best practice. So one is the camel casing of the column name, the parameter name, and other is that we should be putting some good description. So we can, by looking itself, we can understand that what is the purpose of CDT and which table. Like here we have given the description, right? So while looking here, you can say, okay, this CDT is connected to this particular table, right? So we do not have to search it, find it, right? It's there in the description. So always try to put some good description. Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, I just have a question. Like,
Yeah, go ahead.
which language it's using? Like, generally, when we are doing one application development, for backend we use database and Java or .NET. In APN, which language it's using? Like, you just have created data types, right?
So there is no code for the data type, right? This is not. It's not a code. It's an object. So Appian does not give you the coding. This thing. It's similar to Java. It's not a Java, but it's similar to Java. And that, as mentioned in the last class, it's a cell. Its name, in the name, it has a self-assemble interface language, but it's not like only for the interface. The coding also called a cell language. It's a self-assemble interface language. So whatever the coding you will be using, like if condition, or condition, and condition, and all, right, that will be a cell. But it is very similar to Java.
Okay, yeah. I think those data types or objects are predefined, so that's why we can use it easily.
Yes. So we just have to see what we did is a configuration. We configure the type to the table, and then we get everything is ready for us.
Right? Yeah, understand. Yeah, clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?